The following video contains content that may not be suitable for all viewers. It may trigger PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or other emotional and psychological disturbances. The following video contains a story accounting abuse, which is sexual, emotional, psychological, and physical. It also contains accounts of self-harm and suicide. If you feel like any of this might trigger you, we ask that you please do not watch the following video. It also contains graphic details as well as explicit language. It is not intended for younger viewers, but only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey guys, Alex here from Abuse Nation. So we received an anonymous abuse story that I would love to read to you guys today. It's actually a letter that was written to the band Korn from this person. They were 19 years old when they wrote it, and that was 17 years ago. So they have been brave and kind enough to share this letter with us today. Before I start, I know it's beautiful out where I'm sitting, but it also means that my allergies are really acting up. So I'm sorry if you hear some sniffling coming from me. Dear Korn, I'm writing this letter to thank you, and I really hope you read it to its conclusion. If you're wondering why I'm thanking you, there are many reasons. Giving me the courage and will to continue living is one of them. I know you get this often, but this happened at a time when you may not have gotten so many responses and stories such as these. Back when I was 12 going on 13, my parents put me in Catholic school. My first few weeks I was made fun of because I looked like I was stoned all the time. I wasn't. My eyes are kind of squinty. I was called a lot of names, druggy, stupid shit like that, and it really didn't have much of an effect on me, and I figured people were just kidding around and it would be over soon. I couldn't have been more wrong. About a week later, somebody started a rumor that I was gay, and that's when I started to hear a word that continues to pierce my ears to this day: faggot. Name-calling turned into a couple of punches in the arm, getting spat on, etc. It started to bother me, but it didn't really scare me too much. I didn't fight back, and it just got worse. What once was punches in the arm turned into holding me against a brick wall after lunch and beating the fuck out of me till I squirmed on the ground. The teachers turned the other way whenever they saw something because they were pretty much in on it. I was a faggot, and that's against their fucking bullshit religion, apparently. I was religious until all this happened. I mean, wasn't Jesus supposed to be, if anything, loving and all-inclusive? If oppression and hatred on behalf of a belief is religion, then I want it out. I'd come home with black eyes sometimes, and on one or two occasions, blood-stained collars. My parents asked questions, but I told them it was just from playing tackle football, and they were naive enough to believe me. The truth was, every day I had the living fuck beat out of me over something that wasn't true. I didn't have one damn friend or hand to look to for help. I was hated by all. Things were bad, but not bad enough for me to actually try suicide. Not yet, anyways. One day we were dissecting frogs for lab bio, and everybody had scalpels. The teacher said she had to run an errand for 10 minutes and put a kid in charge. Smart idea, right? Almost the second she walked out the door, a few kids surrounded me with scalpels. Razor-sharp fucking scalpels. They said that if my faggot ass didn't eat frog parts, they would cut me. Sitting there fucking sobbing, I had no other choice. I did it. I almost passed out. One of the fucks cut me anyway. When the teacher came back, I showed her and pleaded to go to the nurse. She took one look and said, "I would expect something like this from a queer like you, cutting yourself to get out of class. Get out of my sight." I threw up on my way to the nurse, and I told her I'd slipped. The cut was minor. After this day, I thought about hanging myself with a dog leash, but decided to go on with the pain a little longer, and hopefully it would be over. I also didn't want my family to find me or to hurt anyone around me. A little more than a week later, I got dropped off early and went to homeroom. There were 2 other kids there, and our teacher asked us to carry boxes down to storage room. We went down there, and I ended up being the last to throw the box in. The other 2 kids shoved me back and locked the door. I was in a 4x5 room, pitch black, alone for 7 hours. I screamed and cried, banging on the door until I couldn't anymore, and eventually gave up. At the end of the day, a janitor let me out and told me I was going to miss my bus. I think he didn't realize I was locked in there, let alone all day. That day, my fucking homeroom teacher marked me as skipping, even though I'm sure she knew damn well where I was. The beatings continued and my bruises weren't questioned because at the time I kept blaming the wounds on either recess or school sports. Things were shit and I thought about suicide a lot, but never actually tried it until one day. One of my teachers had gotten very ill and we had a replacement sub for a month. She was a fucking bigoted bitch, so she deserved it anyway. The sub seemed like a nice guy and got to know our names and everything. While everyone went to lunch one day, he told me he had to talk to me about a grade and asked me to stay after class. I saw him after class and asked him about the grade, in which he replied, "I've seen what people are doing to you and it's not right at all." I thought, finally, it's over. Somebody sees what's going on and I'm going to get helped out of this. There's hope. Until I looked up. His face went from polite and caring to almost guilty. He said, "Let me help you. I can be here for you." He grabbed me by the shoulders, bent me over a desk, and tried to get my pants down. I struggled as hard as I could, broke free, kicked him in the fucking balls, and ran out screaming. I called my parents from a payphone and told them to pick me up because I was very sick. A few years back, my sibling had bought your first album the day it came out. No offense, but they didn't like it all that much and gave it to me. It was the only CD I had along with the Beach Boys' greatest hits, being that I was young and didn't listen to a lot of music. I liked it a lot, but I didn't really pay much attention to the words and only listened to a few songs. The day I was almost raped by this bastard, I decided I couldn't take it anymore and I was going to end it all. I sat in my room with my scalpel from the dissection kit, had a sorry note to my loved ones on the door pleading them to not open and just call the police. I put the blade up to my skin and tried to cut. I was trembling and terrified, so only nicked myself a few times. So I put in the CD to ease my nerves. I don't know why or how, but my CD player started on track 6. I sat for a few minutes, poked the blade deep in my skin, and right when I was about to pull, I heard an all too familiar word and stopped dead in my tracks. Faggot. I rewound the song and listened to every fucking word the singer had to say. I thought, I'm not alone. There's somebody else like me out there and they pulled through it all and they're in a band singing about it. That's what I need to do. What good was my life if I didn't do anything with it while I lived? Since then, music, art, and you guys have been very big parts of my life. Even though you've never met me before, you guys have been like my family, and there's no way I could ever thank you enough for that. It's not just Jonathan's lyrics that saved me. The all-together mood that all of you put out have helped me through anything. You don't need words to explain what you guys are trying to say. No offense, JD. Music is a passion of mine, along with helping others. I want to get my experiences and messages out there so people know that they're not alone and help people like you guys helped me. Creativity has become a blood that flows through my veins, and I will create until I die, thanks to you. Thank you guys for all that you've done for myself, my family, my friends, and the love of my life, music. My dream and goal, aside from helping people, is thanking you guys in person. It's hard going through life without the one thing that was and always will be there for you no matter what. Thank you, James, Jonathan, Brian, David, and Reggie, for everything. I owe you my life. So this person who sent in their letter actually did get to meet Korn and thank them in person, and now they work together in a creative capacity. So I would like to take a moment to thank the person who sent this in and let you know that I send out my heart, and thank you very much for sharing this.